Welcome to Christian Statesman. I'm your host, Zach Wagner, and this is episode 108, Funding the Big Show. I love weddings. I'm at the age where my children are mostly married off, as are most of my friends' children. It was at such a wedding reception the other day I had a remarkable experience. A friend's son, who is now in his early 30s, had returned from his diplomatic post at the State Department in Europe to attend his sister's big event. This young man, growing up in a very conservative and religious household, is the perfect product of the schools and the modern progressive government. He has become a dyed-in-the-wool leftist and atheist. When I asked how he was doing, he replied, "Much better now than the last 4 years." With an obvious degrading reference to the Trump administration, he noticed that diplomacy was normalizing again across Europe. And what is normal? What did Trump do that was so abnormal? He simply put his foot down, stating America would no longer be the world's police or piggy bank, and backed that attitude up with real policy. Biden is now redistributing America's wealth across the globe, siphoning money out of taxpayers' hands and into the hands of vast unknown entities and causes. And my dear young friend views it all as back to business as usual. As I suggested to him that the whole thing was a big edition of The Truman Show, he looked confused. It took a moment to realize he was compartmentalized and had no idea of the greater realities of which he is a small part. And that is indeed how the game is played. We are spending untold billions, even trillions a year to employ untold numbers of government employees to perpetuate the big show. While the show is playing, the elites at the top of our corporations and government are fattening up America for the slaughter. The ultimate goal has always been one world government. My youthful friend opined on how a united international government was an illusion and just not possible in any practical sense. That must be the official line in State Department meetings. Little does he realize that this new form of government is intended to be ushered in and implemented after a well-engineered social and economic collapse of the West and a vast reduction in global population of current sovereign nations. He has a point that a one-world government is unwieldy and impossible in our current configuration. With 7 billion people on the planet, even the evil elite will admit control is elusive at best. So we enter the first leg of the depopulation marathon with supposed pandemics and vaccinations. Who knows what other insidious plans await in the wings? The 500 million worldwide population goal posted by the Georgia Guidestones is not a random number. It is a figure at which the elites believe they can reasonably maintain global control. Take the warning seriously. This is the larger point that this young man, and in fact most unaware citizens, are missing. The daily presentation of the big show prevents them from stepping out of their cubicle and looking around at the larger picture. The regular activity of maintaining the less important actions we call international diplomacy keep everyone focused on the temporary game. The larger plan to eventually merge all nations under one umbrella, divested of any local sovereignty or control, is invisible to those who are perpetuating the show. And perhaps the greater crime in all of this is that we are the ones paying for this. It is our hard-earned money plus a bunch of borrowed or printed deficit spending that funds the show. The Dan Bongino book, entitled Life Inside the Bubble, dedicates an entire section to discussing the need for a massive reduction in government agencies. He noted, we are currently operating 17 security and law enforcement agencies when at most we need 3. How many more government positions have been created over the years just to perpetuate the illusion of the big show? And keep in mind, once these positions are created, with the unionization of government employees, they are very hard to terminate. Over the years, our bureaucracy has become so bloated it can barely sustain itself. Any real reform would require vast overreach of the executive branch, itself not a very palatable option, but undoubtedly better than the current overblown situation. The disturbing conclusion is that we are paying for untold thousands of people to live, work, and perpetuate the big show. This is not to disparage the good work that is done in some of these departments, for there are many like this young fellow who are there for altruistic purposes, desirous to make a positive impact on the world. And at times they certainly do. But the larger picture, the draining and transference of American wealth and power is lost on the very people who are unwittingly participating in it. At the micro level, America and many Americans are working to be just, equitable, and virtuous, to do good in the world. At the macro level, their highest leadership has long ago sold them down the river. The difficulty of it all is to see such idealized individuals caught up only in the needs of the day, unable or unwilling to view the larger agendas in play. They are, after all, ones who could implement change from within the system if they united in such an effort. Do not expect that any time soon. The allure of the big show is just too tenured and seductive to be turned against. Thank you for being with us. Please subscribe, and as always, have a blessed day.